Hi and welcome back to another Walking Dead Dead City review, and today I'm going to be reviewing, breaking down and discussing Dead City Season 2 Episode 2, and this episode is a big improvement on Episode 1. So the overall plot of this episode is about New Babylon trying to get on Manhattan, while you have Negan, the Barazzi, the Croad, and everyone there trying to defend the island from a siege. It is basically a siege episode, but it kind of leads into more of a massacre by the end. And I thought this episode has a lot of strong points, but it does have some weak points. And weirdly, all these weak points happen before our characters get on the boat, and there's not many of them. So let's talk about the things I didn't like about this episode. And the first thing I have to say is the pacing. The start of this episode is really slow, and I did not care or like the Jenny drama with Maggie at all. I thought it was annoying, I didn't like that plot, but it does quickly move on, and it then moves over to Hershel as he's added back into the story, and from that point on, the story feels a little better. I'm just not a fan of what they seem to be doing with Jenny in this season so far. And then we move on to my next thing I didn't like, which is actually the next scene. It is a scene where Maggie gets arrested. I really did not like it because it seems like the Major started on her and was the aggressor in the whole scene, which leads to Maggie lashing out because she then threatens to kill Hershel, and I'm like, what the hell? And it seems just like poor writing. The writers have been like, oh, we need to make New Babylon clearly the villains, so let's have them threaten to kill a child for no reason, as well as go off and kill 20 innocent people. And I'm like, okay, this is poor writing. You're clearly just making it clear that they are the villains. There is no moral grey area with New Babylon. And I thought that was really bad writing. That was really annoying. And it moves on to my next point, and that is with Pearly. And I feel like he's a very big pushover in this episode, and it really makes me dislike the character. He's meant to be the colonel, the second highest ranking officer in the army next to the governor. But then you have the Major, and she keeps questioning him and undermining his authority in this episode. And she talks about, oh, there are laws, we have to do this. But then she's doing insubordination. So should there be, if they're going to kill somebody for deserting, would they kill someone for insubordination? It's really dumb. The writing's poor. I just don't like this character. She's clearly meant to be, oh, look, this is a bad person. New Babylon is evil. That's the point. I just didn't like it. I thought it was really bad writing, and it has negatively affected my opinion on Pearly just a little. And that seems to be the only negatives in this episode. Once they are on the boat, the episode does get way better. It's just that start, which is a bit slow, but once they get going, it really does improve from here on out. But right before we get into the siege, there is a really cool Easter egg, and it's when the Croad talks about meeting a guy before the fall. He says he met a chemistry teacher, and then he does a rough quote of what Walter White said in Breaking Bad Season 1, where he talks about endothermic reactions and chemistry, and it's really cool to get another Breaking Bad Easter egg. It seems The Walking Dead loves to do that, and now we're getting it in spin-offs, and maybe it's putting more fuel to the fire that somehow Breaking Bad might be connected to The Walking Dead in some way, because we now have a straight Walter White quote and a reference in a spin-off. Very cool. And the best bit is, this quote isn't just a random Easter egg, it leads directly into the whole battle with the boat, seeming to unknowingly go straight into a minefield, and then everything just kicks off. The battle commences, and it's absolutely phenomenal, this battle is. It starts with the New Babylon just being absolutely fudged. They just walk straight into a battle, and they have no clue what to do, and then walkers get yeeted at them, and the walkers are being used as methane bombs. Phenomenal. And this part of the episode really does show that they definitely did cook with Dead City Season 2. I really enjoy the battle. It's a very creative way to have a battle, and to have the walkers be these bombs, and them just launching them off a building into the Hudson. Absolutely amazing. Very well shot. And it's just super intense, super amazing. And Maggie and Hershel and Jenny are just trying to get out of there while all chaos is going down. And Pearly and the Major are like, we're fudged. We absolutely fudged ourselves. It's a great scene. And it's a big chunk of the episode. But once it comes to the end, the episode comes to the end with Hershel being seen by Negan. And Negan being like, oh, I have to let them go. And this leads into one of my favourite scenes. And that is with the Dama, the Croad and Negan celebrating, air quotes. And this scene is phenomenal. And I would say every scene with Negan is really good. He is absolutely phenomenal throughout this entire episode. But this scene just steals it. And it is because you have the Dama, amazing acting, absolutely phenomenal, scene stealer. This little scene starts with a celebration, but then it turns to an interrogation of Negan because the Dama knows Negan let them go and didn't kill everyone on the New Babylon boat. And this scene's fantastic. You have this scene where it's so intense and there's so many little things, like when Negan's friend is walked in and it seems like he's the one who snitched on Negan to the Dama, and you get the scene where Croad looks over at Negan and it seems like he's trying to hand the bat to Negan just in case anything goes bad and if Negan just wants to take out the Dama. But it's the scene steals it. You have the Dama walking around being like, why are you doing this? And then she forces the guy to play the violin, and it's an absolute phenomenal scene where Negan's just getting more and more defeated, and while he's playing the music, she's walking around with this very stylized, really sharp pen. She's waving it around the entire scene, and you're just on the edge of your seat being like, at what point is she going to lash out and murder him? And it just absolutely steals the show. We don't care about this character. He's a very small character. He's been in 2 episodes. But the way the scene is shot and portrayed, and the way Jeffrey D. Morgan is so defeated in this episode, and defeated by this scene, absolutely phenomenal. For when the man stops playing, she walks behind him and says, we don't want to be in the past, and she literally cuts his throat open. He bleeds out and Negan's hold back. He's like screaming, and it's absolutely amazing where she walks over and you reveal that it's the Croat the entire time that actually portrayed Negan. Absolutely amazingly shot scene, because you think it's the guy with the violin this entire time, but no, it's the Croat. And it recontextualizes the entire scene. It's absolutely phenomenal. Definitely one of my favourite scenes in The Walking Dead in a really, really long time. And then we move on to the actual ending with Maggie and New Babylon. And there's another plot twist reveal, and I think this one's even better than the crowd one, which is absolutely phenomenal. And this is the reveal that Hershel is the one that warned the Croat and the Barazzi at the start of the episode. And Hershel wasn't there to save Maggie. He was there because he's working with the Barazzi. Absolutely amazing scene, because it's just absolutely heartbreaking when Maggie figures it out. She's trying to keep it together, and Hershel walks over and he sits next to her and she goes, I love you, Mum. And you see Maggie breaking down. She's like, I love you too. Absolutely amazing scene where she's trying to keep it together, and the acting in the scene is absolutely phenomenal. It's such a little moment, but that plot twist right at the end of the episode, absolutely amazing. And it's up there. That one scene right at the end of Hershel is up there with the Dama scene, in my opinion. The ending of this episode is phenomenal. And it's very weird, because the start of this episode, I was really thinking, oh, this is going to be an absolute dud. I really dislike the start of this episode. But then it just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And my favourite scenes aren't even the battle. It is the small scenes right at the end of the episode with the betrayals, because they're so well done. And that's when the writing is really, really good. And I really like the scenes. It's just, why does the whole New Babylon stuff suck? It's really, really confusing. The writing just can be all over the place with Dead City, it seems. But let's move over to my closing thoughts. And overall, I would say that Dead City Season 2 Episode 2 is a fantastic episode. It is slow at the start, but the episode just keeps getting better till it absolutely peaks near the end. I would have to give this an 8.5 out of 10. I cannot justify giving it a 9 because of the pacing issues, and I don't like how poor the writing is with New Babylon. However, I do think this is better than an 8, so an 8.5 out of 10 for Episode 2 of Dead City. A really, really strong start to this season, and I'm really excited to see where the story continues. But this is just my thoughts, remember that, so please tell me your thoughts down below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? I'd like to know all your thoughts down in the comments. So goodbye, peace out, I'll talk to you later.